Hello everyone and welcome back to the Honey Herd Apiary. If you are new here, my name is Paul and this is my first year as a beekeeper. I started earlier this year from scratch as a complete beginner. It's Thursday the 8th of September, it's about 4 p.m. and about 18 degrees C. So it's a little bit late in the season to be having the final check because a lot of things can go wrong, like squishing the queen. I need to be really careful because if I squish the queen, it's going to be really difficult to find a replacement at this time of the year. I think it's really important to go through just to make sure that everything's looking right and they're going to build up through autumn, ready for winter. It's been absolutely terrible weather here. It's been pouring it down for the last few weeks. So I'm happy to get here today to have a quick look through the colonies and see how they're looking. It being the first sunny day in a few weeks, there's lots of activity around the hive entrances, where I think a lot of the bees are doing their orientation flights. Well, that's enough of me babbling on. I'm going to get the smoker lit, get the veil on, and we'll go and have a look. Wow, and look at all these orientation flights going on here. We're going to have a very quick look through nuke 1 and nuke 2. They're not going to be too invasive. I just want to have a quick look through, make sure that the queen's there. If I can't find the queen, then we'll just be looking for signs of the queen, so young eggs. And we'll also be looking at the state of the bees. Do they show signs of disease? Are they all looking healthy and well? Going straight in for the center of the hive, center of the colony. Because all I want to find is the queen, like I keep saying, or eggs. Now in the center of the colony is where you tend to find the most brood. But this colony is not showing any signs of eggs in the center so far. This looks rather empty. So does this. Looks like they've left space for the queen to lay. I really can't see signs that she's done so. Oh, there she is. There's the queen. This is a swarm that we caught middle of June. So she's there and she looks really big. Not sure if you're picking her up there. And there's eggs in there. There's eggs, there's cat brood, and there's a big fat queen. Look at that. She doesn't seem too bothered by me. She just seems to be looking for the next place to lay. Wow, she's an absolute tank of a queen. Really big. Now I know where she is. I'm going to put her back in very carefully. Yeah, we got brood in all stages here. She seems to just be favouring the front half of the frame, which is the one closest to the entrance. A benefit to that is that it keeps the bees close to the entrance. And there are a lot of wasps around at the moment. Yeah. To be honest, I'd like to see a bit more brood. So that's what this hive's look. This colony's looking like. Really low on numbers. Really low on eggs and brood. I'm not sure what's the best course of action here, but I will be monitoring them. Okay, so that was a brief look through nuke 2. So the queen's been in here a while now, but she doesn't seem to be getting going at all. Hopefully she'll get herself sorted out, but it's not looking too promising for this hive. So let's have a look through nuke 1. Wow, much more impressive than nuke 2. Just keeping an eye out for the queen. Very gingery bees. And they have almost completely finished their feed. So let's have a quick look through the box. Okay, so it's just the middle frame in the top box. No queen excluder, so I'm very conscious that the queen could be anywhere in here. A couple of drones still. There's a big fatty drone there in the bottom corner. Oh, his days are numbered, I would imagine. But look, loads of brood in here. And that's in the top box of a double brood. Don't know if it's showing up well. Look at that pearly white larvae in there. Surrounded by nectar or syrup, as I have been feeding them. Just going to put this down here actually. Don't know where the queen is. I didn't see her on there, but the second frame in the top brood box. Now, in comparison to, this is Nuke 1, so in comparison to their neighbour, Nuke 2, these girls are flying. And this is a mated queen that we bought from Lawrence at Black Mountain Honey. And this split was made later than we caught the swarm. So the swarm queen, in comparison to the mated queen, she is really struggling. To be fair, it was a very small swarm. The thing is, I don't want to be messing around with taking brood from other colonies now to give her a boost. I'm thinking if she makes it, she makes it. If she doesn't, she doesn't. Yeah, there's eggs in here. So all there in the center, all eggs. Followed by nectar, and then all eggs in the edges as well. I don't think we have any worries about this colony because they've got 2 frames of eggs up here. I'm not going to bother looking down into the bottom brood box. Couple more drones still in here. No eggs though, but they are starting to draw this out, and I think the feeding is going to help. Yeah, I think I've had these out long enough. And what a lovely temperament of bees as well. So, Nuke 1 looking fantastic. I've just found brood in the top box and I haven't got an apivar strip in, so I think I'm going to put one in. If you think that's a mistake, guys, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to do that anyway, just to give these bees a fighting chance against the mites. So that's the inspections complete on the Nuke 1 and Nuke 2. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but there's a complete contrast in the pair of them. Nuke 1 is looking fantastic with loads of bees in there and expanding into the top box. Nuke 2, not looking that great at all, with very minimal brood, very minimal amount of bees. Even though that queen looks big, fat and juicy, it doesn't seem to be delivering the goods. Okay, so let's have a look then into Nuke 3. I've got a second brood box on this colony. I'm not sure if they need it, however I'll keep an eye on them, and as it gets closer to the winter I'll condense them down to a single colony. What I'm going to be doing now though is I'm going to be feeding these bees every week as much as possible, so I don't want them to clog up the brood area with syrup. So I'll put the second brood box on, hopefully they'll draw that out and fill that with syrup. If you've got any hints or tips, like I say, please leave it in the comments. If the second brood box isn't needed as we're getting in the next month or so, as the nights start getting colder and as the days start getting colder, if I don't need this second brood box, I'll definitely be moving it. This hive is absolutely buzzing. I've got to be really careful now because I do not want to be squishing the queen. All I want to see is the signs that the queen is right, that the queen's all right in there, and then she's laying. The amount of bees in there is a real good bonus for me. I'm really happy with the amount of bees. Let me know, guys. 8th of September, North Wales. A good amount of bees in the box. Oh, very heavy frame here. Yeah, I'm seeing eggs in here. Seeing eggs in here. I don't want to hassle these bees too much. I'm seeing eggs. Wow, what an absolutely packed hive of bees. I've seen some eggs in there. They were very young and a few of them still stood upright. which means they were laid very recently. That gives me the confidence to say that this hive is queen right and they'll do fine raising their winter bees. So this is nuke 4. This is a split that we made back in early June. I did get back here. I was back here to feed these bees, even though it was pouring down with rain. It's a top feeder, so we don't actually have to go into the hive on these ones. We just lifted the lid and poured some syrup in. That was a couple of days ago, and the syrup is completely gone. So let's have a look how they're looking inside the box. Feed has been nicely properlised down. Okay, and this is what the box is looking like in the top. This is on the double brood. I have just put them a bit of smoke in. When I first had a little peek under the feeder, there was quite a few bees on top, but I think a few of them have gone down. Not huge amounts to see in the top. Let's have a little look though. This is a very heavy frame, full of nectar or syrup, because I have been feeding these bees. Lots of nectar in there. It's really heavy, nicely drawn out. So this is what the bottom brood box is looking like. Absolutely packed full of bees. You can see the apivar strip there. Going to give them a little bit of a smoke because they don't seem too happy that I'm here today. So like I say, all I'm looking for in here is the queen, or just signs of the queen. I mean, the numbers in the hive look fantastic. Very, very carefully bringing this out. And this is what we're looking at. Looks like mostly nectar in here. No signs of eggs. But here's the outside frame. Yeah, look, absolutely loads of nectar in here. No signs of the queen though. Very, very gently pulling this frame, and it is heavy. Very, very heavy. Packed full of pollen. Absolutely loads of pollen on here. Bee bread. Looks like they're just starting to cap it over at the top. Yeah, absolutely rammed. Rammed. It's so heavy and so sticky. I don't think we're going to find any eggs on here, because it is just absolutely rammed full. Look at all that pollen. Tapped over honey. Loads of pollen. That's great. So that means they're in good stead for raising those winter bees. So I'm giving them just enough smoke to give them something else to think about, but not so much that they're going to panic. Well, at least that's the plan anyway. And this is just, again, nectar or syrup. It's a little bit concerning now because we are getting into the middle. But yeah, and on this side, loads of pollen. I can hear a bit of a roar in the hive. I hope that's not the queenless roar that I hear so much about. I've not had any experience from it, and I don't know if you guys are picking it up on the camera. But the girls do seem a little bit more feisty than they normally do. But it is September. There's a lot of fanning going on. Maybe I've moved the queen to the other box, and they're not very happy about that. Let's have a look. We've got some brood on here. Yeah, I'm seeing young larvae. I'm just going to move over a little bit. Oh, I don't know if you can see that on there. I think that white stripe means they're on the balsan, the Himalayan balsan. There are some queen cups on here, which at this stage of the game I'm not going to touch. But yeah, there are lots of all that space. There's brood in all stages on here. and eggs as well. So I don't think I need to see anything else from this colony. Oh, look at that cheeky wasp in here. I don't know if you picked that up on the camera. I'll just give it a squish anyway. And this strip here, this was where the apivar strip was. So I don't know if they've moved that intentionally somewhere else or what's gone on there, but that's exactly where the apivar strip was, and they've just removed any wax that was there. You know, they could be a bit feisty today because there's a lot of wasps around, but I don't think there's anything to worry about with this colony, and I'm not going to check anything further. Okay, so in summary, I think Nuke 4 is looking fantastic. Loads of bees in there, lots of young eggs. I didn't see the queen, but I didn't investigate any further after seeing them young eggs. There was eggs there standing up, so I knew that she was there in the last couple of days. There's no reason she shouldn't be okay now. Other than this, I've just switched her going through the hive. Okay, so let's have a look at Nuke 5. This is some local bees, some locally adapted Welsh black bees. Okay, so we're not going to spend a huge amount of time in the top box, but this is how it's looking. Have a little look at this centre frame here. See, these are locally adapted Welsh black bees, but you can see some of them are really ginger and some of them are really black. And all I'm looking for, as in the other colony, is just signs of that the queen's doing okay. So that's what they're looking like in the bottom box. They've built comb all over the place here. I'm going to be very gentle pulling this out. And this is what they're looking like on the outside frame. Lots of cat brood, which is great. But what I really want to see is young eggs, and I can see them in there. I'll move this back over the colony, just in case the queen's on there and drops off. Yeah, I can see eggs everywhere in here. Brood in all stages. Loads of eggs. So I'm just going to get this straight back in very, very carefully. But here's what we're looking at. There's lots of stores around the outside. And then just all that's empty space is young eggs and young larvae. And in this corner here, it's got some very young eggs. A couple of them still stood upright. So I'm going to get this frame in. I know the queen could be anywhere in this hive. So I'm just going to be super gentle sliding this back in. So there we have it. That's both Nuke 4 and Nuke 5. Showing signs that the queen's there and that she's healthy and laying well. There's no signs of any disease in any of the bees. I'm going to keep feeding these now all the way through until it gets too cold to feed syrup. Then I'll switch to fondant. I've got the second brood boxes on, even though it's not 100% necessary for the amount of bees. I've got the second brood box on because I'm going to keep feeding these now all the way through until it's too cold. Then I'll switch to fondant. I want to make sure they've got plenty of space to store the syrup that I'm going to feed them. Thanks ever so much for watching. If you like going through the hives with me, or you're just interested in bees, please hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.